The House Appropriations Committee releasing its 2026 fiscal year national security appropriations bill. Now, the bill delivers a 22% reduction in funding compared to 2025 enacted levels, while further strengthening the national security of the U.S. Joining me now is Florida Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart. He's vice chair of the House Appropriations Committee. So, Congressman, tell us more about this bill. I know that this is very important to you, in particular, that 22% reduction.
Yeah, Cheryl, thanks for the opportunity and to spend this time with you. Look, we are spending a lot less money, but doing more with less, more to help our national security interests, more to confront the adversaries of the United States. Frankly, and all of this with a lot less money, we're still able to do more to help our allies, our friends. So it's a common sense bill which spends less, does more good things. And by the way, we also are not spending money on things that are not only not helping us, but we have for years been spending money on issues and on things that actually have been hurting our national security interests and our allies. So it's another really important step in the right direction on the America First policy.
All right. Well, certainly there is a lot to be done this fall. But this is where I wanted to get your opinion of what Senate Majority Leader John Thune told Maria. He warned her on Sunday Morning Futures that Congress may face a partial government shutdown. Watch.
We are going to need to get appropriations done. That will require some cooperation from the Democrats, and hopefully they will be willing to make sure that the government is funded. We got to do the defense authorization bill. Russia sanctions is something that is on our agenda, and we're kind of working with the White House and coordinating schedules to make sure that we do that at the right time in terms of their negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. But funding the government has to be done before the end of the fiscal year, which is October the 1st.
Do you think Chuck Schumer would like to see a government shutdown come September?
I think he probably thinks that it's beneficial to their political base, the far left of the Democrat Party, and you can kind of see what's happening up there in New York politics. This is a party struggling for an identity. We're going to be waiting to see anxiously what Chuck Schumer and other leaders on the Democrat side decide to do.
So, Congressman, there's 12 appropriations bills or CRs that have to be passed by October 1st, or there has to be a CR by October 1st to avoid a shutdown. But this needs 60 votes. And I'm looking at the breakdown. 53 Senate seats are Republican. They've got to have the Democrats on board for this.
Yeah, we can't do the appropriation bills through reconciliation. Reconciliation only requires 51 votes in the Senate. It's got to be done through the regular process, which requires 60 votes, 60% of the senators to pass. So, yes, he's absolutely right. It's going to require ultimately negotiations between the House and the Senate and the White House. And I will tell you, the Democrats are not only in disarray, President Trump is basically living rent-free in their heads. He's so much in their heads, they have a hard time dealing with reality. And they're going to have to realize that unless we're going to have a government shutdown, which would be catastrophic, by the way, they're going to have to negotiate, and they're going to have to start negotiating pretty soon.
Liz Peek, jump in here.
Congressman, is this a template, what your committee has done for other parts of the government? In other words, are we going to see a whole raft of appropriations bills coming out trying to spend less and do more? Because that would really be good news for the American people.
It's actually, look, the leadership of the full committee chairman in the House, Tom Cole, has been amazing. So with the exception of the 3 bills that the president has asked additional funding for, and that's defense, homeland, and veterans, and so those are either flat or getting an increase. So the other bills, you're going to see dramatic spending decreases. We'll see what the Senate can come up with. But again, eventually, we're going to have to negotiate, and the Senate Democrats are going to have to decide whether they want to shut down the government with all of that entails. And by the way, at a moment when China is being so aggressive, this is not the time to, in essence, tie the hands of our military. But we'll see what the Democrats want to do. Yes, we are cutting money on things that are not necessary. We are spending less. And here's the key, and doing more good things with a lot less taxpayer money.
Right. Fiscal responsibility, which is what the voters asked for in November of 2024. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how Senator Schumer kind of handles this dance, considering that he's under a lot of pressure because of what's happening here in New York City with the mayor's race. And also there's this talk of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez primarying against him. So there's a lot happening with him. But let me move to this with you. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard revealing an explosive declassified document drop alleging that the Obama administration created and pushed the narrative that President Trump colluded with Russia to win the 2016 election. Congressman, I want to get your reaction to this document dump from Tulsi Gabbard on Friday and kind of what this means going forward. What do you think?
Well, we've known that there was a concerted effort coming from the administration to basically try to destroy President Trump in his first term. And so that just didn't happen by osmosis. Somebody had to give the order because it was coordinated. It looks like right now, which we all suspected, that this goes all the way to the top, potentially from President Obama himself. And so I'm grateful that this is finally coming out because this was an actual coup attempt. You hear the Democrats talk about threat to democracy. There is a threat, and there was a threat to democracy, but it wasn't coming from the right or for conservatives. It was coming from the left. And it looks like it came all the way, whether it was President Obama or his closest associates, it looks like it went all the way to the White House. It is important that this is investigated. So something like this, an attempted coup in essence, never happens again in the United States of America, the greatest democracy in ever.
You know, my colleague Greg Jarrett here at Fox wrote an op-ed at foxnews.com how Obama and his cronies created the Trump-Russia hoax. But he also poses the question, what happens next? And that is the question about what happens next. I mean, you could look at things like treason. You could look at things. I mean, this isn't about collusion anymore, depending on where the investigation goes. Do you think that that's the right path to take right now? Or is it more important to focus on the issues, you know, at hand for the nation?
I mean, look, you can do two things at the same time. I think it's very important that we follow the facts and that we take and we follow that trail to wherever it leads. We should not be politicizing, and we have to be, I think, very thoughtful. But you cannot allow, if in fact that happened, which I suspect it did, you cannot allow, in essence, a coup, an organized, planned, aggressive coup to take place, almost take place, and no consequences for that action. But it has to be done seriously. So I tell people, let's see where the facts go. But right now, from what we are able to see just in those documents, it is really damning to the President Obama and his entire administration. And we can do that while at the same time do the other things. And yes, will the Democrats flip out if, in fact, the facts show that there was this conspiracy? With the Democrat leadership in the Senate in particular flip out and be unable or unwilling to negotiate to do other things for the country? That remains to be seen. But look, we have to get our job done. And part of that job is investigating if there was a potential coup attempt.
Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart, sir, it's always great to see you. Thank you for being here on this Monday.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right. Talk to you soon.